Welcome to Jevim's Research Channel. Be advised that this channel is not for anyone under the age of 18. Also, the research and discoveries of this channel should not ever reflect the personal opinion or views of Jevim or her team unless publicly stated. Please understand that the opinions of the audience is also not a reflection of what or how Jevim feels. Let's bring a curious mind and open heart to these spaces for educational purposes only.
Hello, everyone, and good day. Hello. I'm trying to get this file to come up properly. I just uploaded it. You're going to love it. So what we're going to talk about is the ancient mystery and how it has been profaned. And we're going to take a look. We're going to see Hillman in the olden days, before it was so warped and twisted. Apparently, this whole idea of this mystery that he is talking about currently is a new development. And I would like to be able to show that. Hopefully, the video can be uploaded. Yeah. Okay, it looks to be that. All right. So what we're going to do is we're going to look at, and I'm Gen X, okay? I want to look at Sarah McLachlan, because Sarah McLachlan told us a lot about mysteries. Hello, No Mine, EDM, Gizzy, hi. Hey, good to see you all. Okay. So I really love this song. And it tells a lot, and it reminds me so much of what's going on with Hillman. You come out at night. That's when the energy comes and the dark side's light and the vampires roam. You strut your Rasta wear and your unalivement poem. It doesn't say unalive, but you know what I mean. And across from a faith that died before Jesus came, you're building a mystery. You live in a church where you sleep with voodoo dolls and you won't give up the search for the ghost in the halls. You wear sandals in the snow and a smile that won't wash away. Can you look out the window without your shadow getting in the way? And then we got pre-chorus. You're so beautiful with an edge and a charm, but so careful when I'm all in your arms. Because you're working, building a mystery, holding on and holding it in. Yeah, you're working, building a mystery and choosing so carefully. You woke up screaming aloud, a prayer from your secret God. You feed off our fears and hold back your tears. Oh, you give us a tantrum and a know-it-all grin just when we need one, when the evening's thin. You're a beautiful fucked up man. You're setting up your razor's wire shrine. Because you're working, building a mystery, holding on and holding it in. Yeah, you're working, building a mystery and choosing so carefully. Oh, you're working. Let's see. And it just goes into more. So you see, it's almost like we're being set up, and we know, like, you go into, say, Mystery Cult Ultra, yeah. I know it looks like a new channel, but you're all suspicious. You want to be mysterious too. Okay. So when I'm going into this phase slowly over the past year of learning about the gateway programs and the CIA and all these connections that I seem to be able to make as an autistic woman, putting things together. And this is all socially designed on purpose. So we're going to first look at what AI says, like an overview of what the ancient mystery schools were about. The mystery schools of antiquity were secret religious and philosophical traditions in the Greco-Roman world, Egypt, and the Near East. Participation required formal initiation, and adherents swore strict oaths to keep rituals and esoteric knowledge hidden from outsiders. So that is the beginning of our secret societies. Core characteristics and purpose: experimental rituals, focus centered on dramatic, emotional, symbolic reenactments of divine myths rather than written dogmas. Rebirth and afterlife rites. Typically, it revolved around gods of agriculture, the underworld, and resurrection, such as Osiris, Dionysius, or Demeter, promising initiates a better fate after death. That is a part of, maybe they knew something we didn't, right? Maybe they knew something that science is trying to catch up to. Who knows? Who knows, right? We don't know. None of us were there in the ancient times, so we really don't know how prophetic or profane things were. Okay, personal transformation. Unlike public civic sacrifices, mystery schools offered an initiate, individual connection to the divine, and a path to inner spiritual awakening. I do know that a lot of people that were initiated had to be of a certain class. You had to give over certain things, certain rights, certain riches, and whatnot. So, major traditions of the ancient world, of course, the Eleusinian mysteries, the Egyptian temple mysteries, the Mithraic mysteries, Orphism, and Dionysian rites. So if I had to say I lived a past life, I think I was a part of these mysteries, it would be the Egyptian temple mysteries. Absolutely. Okay, how we doing? Let me check on my chat. Hello, beautiful ashes. Hello. Okay, now we're going to look at what profane means, all right? Because Hillman has profaned these mysteries. The word profane means showing disrespect to God or holy things, using bad words, or talking about normal, non-religious life instead of the sacred matters. It can be used as an adjective, verb, or noun. Meanings and uses: irreverent or blasphemous, treating holy things, places, and names with disrespect or scorn. Secular, things that are ordinary, everyday, or not connected to religion, like profane history. Vulgar language, using rude, obscene, or bad words in speech. To desecrate, to treat a holy space or object with great disrespect or to ruin its purity, which seems to be the case of the art of Hillman, of baby Babylon, Lady Babylon channel. Synonyms for it is unholy, sacrilegious, irreverent, vulgar, secular, and defile. And the antonyms is sacred, holy, pure, respectful, and pious. Okay, so what we're going to do is now, let me stop sharing this for a minute. We're now going to look at a video of, it's an older video. It is from the History Channel. We're just going to show just a little bit of it because I want you to see kind of what he was like before this whole dramatic, quote unquote, satire situation come upon us. Ash, oh my God, I was thinking about this topic. Yes, we are in sync. He wants to perfect. Yeah, me and Ash are definitely in sync. And some people can say, oh, they're playing off each other. Why, yes, we are. Yes, we are. We are inspiring each other. And people can be jealous, and they will be jealous. And that's fine. Okay, hold on.
Gods, you mean like kids with black eyeliner and skinny black pants?
These ones wore armor.
They're a little more formidable.
A little more, yes.
The Eleusinian mysteries ended when the Roman Empire converted to Christianity, and the sanctuary is in ruins because the Christians desecrated it.
I wonder if the Greeks used drugs for any other purposes.
Drugs were used to a wide extent in the Greek world. Even in the Greek assembly, their equivalent of a congress.
Yep, there's the Parthenon. This is where the world's first democracy was born.
Amazing, right here.
Right here, where we're standing. And the meetings would start with purification ritual, with the burning of incense, botanical substances.
The assembly members were subject.
Look how he has hair. He has hair. I wonder what time frame this was. Yeah, I will. Nomi, I'm just going to call you Nomi. I will link it in the description. I'll have to upload part of it, and and it's on archive.org, believe it or not. Hello, Coffee. Good to see you. I know it is weird. It is weird. Ammon could have had a great career and a good life helping others, but he spiraled into terrible. Yeah, degeneracy. Degeneracy. Yep.
Connected to a fumigation of psychotropic botanicals in order to induce what they called a jovial spirit so that they could then discuss politics.
What was incense back then?
Now, imagine that. Imagine people high on the horse, right? High on the horse, right? We need a before and after. Yes. Yes. Right. So this gives us a preview. This definitely gives us a preview of before the purple stained his soul.
We know they burnt frankincense and myrrh, plant resins, maybe plant leaves.
Perhaps cannabis?
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
The Greeks knew about cannabis.
Well, let me give you a little hint, okay? Where there's incense, there's cannabis.
Fumigation is very much like hotboxing. So with hotboxing, you can sit in a car with your buddies and smoke marijuana, and you get the effects of the marijuana continuously. Imagine filling the car with so much smoke that you were gasping. So it's the equivalent of taking our Congress and forcing them to inhale psychotropic drugs before they actually met to discuss legislation.
Now, how different is that than what he's preaching now? And he is preaching. It is preaching. He is preaching.
It seems like an elevated state was an important part of both religious ceremonies, political ceremonies. It was an important part of Greek life.
Well, that's true. Intoxication was something that they thought important. There's a Greek word, pharmakon, which they used to mean medicine or poison. It's where we get the modern word pharmacology from.
The Greek physician Hippocrates, considered the father of modern medicine, recognized there might be a scientific reason that drugs affect our bodies in certain ways.
The Greeks said any substance that you could put in your body that would affect a change could be potentially both bad or good. Snake venom is one of the most commonly used drugs in antiquity.
The modern medical symbol, which we inherited from the ancient Greeks, is two snakes wrapped around a staff. This may be an indication they realized that, like snake venom, many drugs possess the power to heal and to harm.
So it seems like in the Greek society, there wasn't this moral stigma against drug use.
No, absolutely not. It wasn't really a moral issue at all. They didn't think of it in those terms. They appreciated pleasure, and that was a central part of their understanding of how you should live the good life.
So for the Greeks, drugs were all about pleasure.
They were about pleasure on the right occasions, in the right contexts.
Much like the Greek system in college today.
I'll believe you.
Okay, so that's all I have. But yeah, the whole fixation, there was like a whole fixation, right? That caused a spiral. And yeah, that within it, that right there is it in itself its own mystery, right? So that's very interesting. Absolutely. Absolutely. Okay, so we're going back to the very, very first video. Let's see, did I put it up? The very first video that is profaning the mystery. Now, I feel absolutely divinely led, and when a message comes through to me to look something up and to do the work on it to share to the public, I do it. I don't question it. I don't try to figure anything else out. I just go with it. So what we're going to look at is the very first video that has profaning the mystery in it, where he tells you what he's doing. And, you know, we have our freedom of choice. So you have to wonder, those that are in it, that's been in it for years, what are they really doing? You know, unless they definitely are taking a huge part in profaning this mystery which is sacred, this mystery which people that govern democracy held in the highest esteem. Okay, let's get into it. I don't want to get any copyright with the guy that went in, so.
And I appreciate it, because here and now on this Sabbath, we can finally be in a place where we can function freely.
He needs to finally be in a place where he can function freely. Interesting choice of words. I'm going to go back. That right there is Perot's artwork. Perot did that for Ammon. Perot's a good artist.
Well, you got me to come back. And I appreciate it, because here and now on this Sabbath, we can finally be in a place where we can function freely. And we can find that thing called the unassailable freedom.
Okay, so this was before he had like 2,000 members. Okay, before he had 2,000 members. And this unassailable freedom that he promised you all on Danny Jones is to be able to speak without fear of consequence.
My job tonight, since you've given me your time and attention, is to bring you the things that you haven't seen or heard. My job is to show you how to have ears to hear.
Yep, he's telling you that it will be in code. To have ears to hear means that there's an undercurrent code to pick up on.
I'm here to profane the mystery.
See, he just told you. He just told you. He is profaning the mystery. Absolutely. He is turning it, twisting it upside down.
That is, I'm here to make it clear to you.
Yeah.
So that you may enter into contract.
Yes.
With Lucifer.
Yeah. He's profaning it so he can get you twisted up into this deep, dark, demonic situation. Contracting. What does it mean to contract? Your admittance, right? Your willingness, your consent. Your consent is a contract. It is an energetic, etheric contract.
The Morning Star. That contract is an exchange. Esoteric understanding of the universe for your soul.
Yep.
It's very simple.
Yep. He's telling you. He's telling everybody you have to contract this goes right along with everything else going around, everything we've ever heard to contract with deception and evil.
You must be born again. And it's my job to put you in that time machine, to stuff you in that time machine, and to take you back to the place where this was all done. I need you to be able to taste the dust. I need you to smell the funk.
Right.
So I need to be able to take you places that honestly other people don't want to go.
Yeah.
Or can't go.
Yeah.
The first principle I'd like to convey to you, anyone who appears with me will appear with a head shaved in mourning.
You guys shave your head.
We are in mourning. Who died?
Oh, Lord.
What's that I smell? It's the death of Jehovah. I am going to show you what Otto Kern discovered. Otto Kern was a German classical philologist in the early 20th century. And Otto Kern said, there is something being used in antiquity. This cult language, we'll call it the Orphic Vox.
Yep. So everybody, if you have not researched on Otto Kern and the Orphic Vox, I believe Neil might have done something to discredit this too.
They are hiding the mystery within the Vox. It's a language within a language. It's what the Pythagoreans call the upsilon, the left-handed and the right-handed path. You can read any text. But if you read a text that is encrypted with the Orphic Vox, you can read a text that is only for those with ears to hear. Yeah.
So this is his method on how he's teaching people to read it the way he wants to read. He wants you to be able to read it to convince you. This is what has LH and Maddie so, full throttle with it.
That's the expression. For those of you who have ears to hear, and that's my goal tonight, is to give you those ears to hear. And I'm going to do that very simply by just transporting us back. I'm going to show you a never before read text. This thing has never been translated into English. I'll tell you how we found it, and I'll translate it for you. And you will be in a place that only you who are sitting as initiates are able to come to.
Yeah. See, he's propping it up to make you feel special, to make you feel unique, building an elite army. He's building an elite army because, yes, like he said last night, he's ready to go to war, Gizzy. Hold on. Where'd you say it? Right here? Yes. Yes. And we can go to that one too and point that out. He is going to war. He means war, y'all. I have been in some late night conversations that he was leading where this is his goal, is to start a war. Yeah, he's not. No, he's not. Right. No. We're the healers. He was pantsless in these. Yeah.
Hail Satan. Before we begin, I'd like to consult with your voice during this process. I know that you are serious, and I know you don't want the theories. Look, I've been watching you. You don't want the theories. You don't want the professors and the academics to come out and to tell you their theory that they somehow created in the midst of some cognitive circle jerkery. You don't want that. You want the actuality. It turns out the actuality, the historical reality, is far more interesting than the drama that you hear and reject. Instinctively, you reject it. I know you do. Yeah. children need to come as children. Yeah.
Come as children. So it sounds like he found a way to maneuver a grifting.
Okay, for the first time, we're going to look on this material, and it's going to blow some minds of the way that people think. But I'm going to ground you in a time and a place where you'll never forget it, and it'll make its mark on you. I'm using the images now.
Right? He's not using the color purple, right? I mean, he is using it right here, right in the background for his backdrop. But we're not like screaming purple, 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 and we're not splashing purple, purple, purple everywhere. It's a progression of this grift.
Of the mystery. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to learn how to read some Orphic Greek, and we're going to break the seal. We're going to break the seal. And just by way to shock somebody into their senses who's going to start watching this and participating, if you've come to this classroom, realize you don't know anything. You have not read the Bible. Don't say that you have. Don't try to quote it. You don't know what it is. You haven't seen it. You haven't read it. Okay, that's what I tell all the seminarian students that I have. Yeah. And they realize that I'm telling them the truth. You haven't read it. Don't tell me you have. Don't tell me you have if you've gone to church. Don't tell me you have if you know King James and the smell of his underwear. I don't care. You haven't read it if you haven't.
He really, really sounds preachy, right? Like you can tell he has been involved in Sunday schools since he was young.
Gone in the Greek. And I'm not talking about Bible college, and I am not talking about seminaries, because I mean, you need to swim in the depths of the Greek.
I love you.
And that's what I'm going to do for you tonight. I'm going to bridge that gap because I can do that. And here's a wonderful opportunity for, instead of me trying to sell you something, by the way, that's the test. Nobody gets in the door who sells stuff, right? There's no sales here. You can't profit. I don't want your super chats.
He doesn't want the super chats, but there's been people throw money at him hand over fist. This progression's beautiful to watch.
Okay, I don't want them. I'm going to keep tabs on what you're saying. I got a watchdog here who's keeping tabs on what you're saying. And when you say something relevant, she is going to bark. Right? Okay, so I'm excited, and I appreciate the fact that everybody has been so supportive. Hail Satan. You know, on that end, let's just jump in and see what we can do here. Do we have anything in the chat that would be good? Any comments here that we need to consider?
Let's consider this was 3-4 years ago. Chewy was probably 16, 17 years old.
Why don't you just go ahead and read it? Mark it out. Go ahead. We'll get our format down. Let's get that snake bite. We got snake. We got John's apocalypse. Yeah. Oh, okay. All right. I see where you are. You hungry? You hungry? Feed them. They're hungry. I'll feed them. I apologize. Let's proceed. Let's put ourselves in the time machine. Close the door. Everybody's in. We're good. We're locking down. We're going. We've got to document, because we're necromancers. We're going to use human thought as our wave. We've got to document from antiquity that we can say a few things about its date. We know that it's preserved by one of the early imperial physicians. Yeah. And we know that it's addressed to Nero in a funny kind of way. It puts Nero in the place of the divinity that you are imprecating.
That's very true, Ben.
Now, who's going to know this? Nobody. Nobody is going to know this. You can take the documents that I show you. You can take them to a classicist.
Subscribers are different. It's a different number than current viewers. Absolutely, Finn. Thank you for that.
You can force them to read them to you. Yeah, but nobody studies this. Nobody. Why am I studying this, and why am I bringing it to you? Because the Muse told me to. And because she very intelligently led me right into this pathway. Ancient pharmacology. Oh, we have this great text. So we have this great text. Go ahead and bring up.
Have you all noticed that he switches up the deities that he uses, that he calls on?
It's number 3 there. Bring that up on you.
It just seems like if it was true, if this was the one true thing, he wouldn't have to keep switching things up, right? It would be Jesus, Jesus only, if there was no other alt going on.
Yes. Oh, and look, what is this thing? Can I just tell you what this thing is? Here we go. We're almost there. The world is almost changed, but let's give it one more 30-second interval. It's
Yes.
repeating cycles. Anyway, look at this, people. Look at this. Bring up the score here.
Yes.
Oh my God. Andromachu theriake dia ehinon. Oh my God.
Right. It's
Hey
ashes.
kalomene kalene. Oh my God. You know what that is? This is the theriac. This is the beast. Theriac is the beast.
Right.
Look at you grubby little. You love it. You got the beast right up front, right in your face.
Right. It's almost like he dangles her like a carrot. It's, it's kind of what it seems. I had a 3-hour conversation with her all about my production and artwork and stuff. And she honestly believes her dad's going to save the world. But now all this fame, I feel, has really gone to both of their heads tremendously.
This is the beast. It's called a theriac. Does anybody know what a theriac is?
You're right. It's so silly.
Does anybody know what a theriac is?
Won't.
Nobody knows yet what a theriac is, or they're not fast enough to type.
So who was it that showed the theriac? That was Neil. Neil just recently showed something very interesting about source of the theriac that come from, was it the Middle East or the Far East? It was one of those. Absolutely. Yeah. Hello. Warner Von Doom. That's an interesting name. Yep.
So what is it? It's the word for serpent or beast or wild, dangerous thing.
No, it's not. No, it's not. Ashes, would you care to go look on one of Neil's 2 channels to see about that present? He did like a short or something on the theriac, and it looks like it's a medicine, but it looks like a black goo. Now, I'm not saying that Hillman's probably completely wrong because I don't know the ingredients of it. I don't remember. But Neil did cover something with the theriac in it, if you don't care to try to find it for me.
We've translated with the word beast in English, but a theriac is a multi-component formula that's used in religious rites and on the medical side, what you and I would call straight up medicine, but they're not distinguishing between medicine and religion.
Okay, Neil proved that wrong too with Dr. I'm gonna find it. I'm gonna look it up.
Right. So when, for example, when you're giving bringing a woman to the point of birthing, that's a ritual, right? There's singing involved in that. We don't feel that way, but they did. So you should understand that. This is how culture transmits that spark, as Nunez called it. Yeah. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay. So our time machine has come to rest. And here we are. We're stepping out. We're going to start in the 1st century with Nero, because we know this thing. Go ahead and put it up again. We know this thing is written to Caesar, right? Right. Put Caesar's name. What is this? It's couplets of verse, right? The theriac, that which is called Galene, or she who is called Galene. Galene means the calm. The calm. And this author who is writing this is using a formula that appears to date back to the late Bronze Age, heavily Mycenaean influence. They've got all the poppy trade going on. The Cypriots and the temples of Aphrodite are heavy on the opiates. And they're in the formulae, which we'll read to you. We'll read. It's in the formula. But the world is not the place that you think.
I found it. I got it, girl. It's okay. Hold on. I'm gonna, yeah. Now I will link this for you, but I'm only gonna show us a short clip of it. Okay. Let's share this. Okay.
It is, if you like, circumscribed, but you can't write about it.
When you say overlap, basically Galen mentions certain compounds. Maybe he mentions mandrake here. Maybe he mentions some other root over here, and then another text.
See, there it is. It was very common. Hillman's making it sound like it's some great big mystery and hard to come by, and we have to go seeking and all this stuff, which is great to inspire intrigue and curiosity. But all Neil had to do was find this one scholar.
Might be some sort of maybe they're talking about how the Theriac is made or something, or and then those particular drugs just happen to have overlap with mystery cults drugs. And it's not that Galen's writing about mystery cults, he's just mentioning drugs that the mystery cults also have. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. That are mentioned in some of the he knows, for instance, about snake charmers and people who use snake remedies in religious contexts. And we know of snake cults, but he uses snakes purely as medicinal substances, and he tells you where you can go in Rome to find the best snake remedies. So that's where the overlap comes.
Oh, I see. So he actually knows about these snakes that are used in the cults, and he can tell you where to find them. That's very fascinating. The other. Oh, I wanted to ask about the Theriac. What is the Theriac? Is written by Galen, if I'm not mistaken. That's from Marcus Aurelius, or is that something else? What is it for?
It's primarily used by some people as an antidote to poisons. That's where you get the story of the King Mithridates taking this remedy so that he survives all sorts of poisoning. It also is remedied as a sort of pick-me-up. It's also recommended as something that would help you sleep, which it would, because it's got a fair amount of opium in it. And it's got opium poppies, juice, and so on. But there's a whole range of ingredients. And it's said to cure any diseases. And if you want to test it, well, you could go to a souk in the Middle East and you can buy Theriac. It's a jar with a nasty brown substance.
Wow, looky there, a modern bottle of the Theriac.
But which is still used as a sort of pick-me-up. It has got there's no mention in the two Theriac treatises, neither of which were actually by Galen, but by contemporaries, of anything to do with the religious element. But there's an awful lot of strange animals and rare plants and so on.
Yeah, because that's another thing you hear this quite often on the internet is that Theriac, and they put it right next to Kaikion, which is from the Eleusinian Mysteries, and they want to put these two together as like cult, religion. But what you're saying is Theriac was actually more just medicinal, or it was not really for cults.
Wow. Yep. See, here we go. Misconstrue.
I think it is. Yeah. Unless you've been there, unless your feet have gotten dirty, you're not going to know who the beast is unless your feet have walked in that soil. And you can't do it. You can't do it.
Yep.
I've watched you guys go on your shows. I've watched you guys sit and listen to each other. I've seen how you work. Yeah, you can't use those texts that you use, right? You're shut off. The only way there is the muse.
Oh.
That's the only way. You have to find that pure stream, they called it in antiquity. And the ancient Greek preserves it. And when I say ancient Greek, let me just tell you something. This will tell you something about me and about our satanic cult. And you're really dipping into such depth with the Greek. And people say, well, what do you mean? Well, your English skills are presumably, for maybe most of you, your English skills will.
I do, for the most part, trust my mods completely as far as their judgment on timing out people.
Be a reflection of the last 800 years. When you're dealing with a Greek text, you're dealing with several thousand years distilled into this language. And so the expressions that you get, and I could show you one word, logos, for example. You try to define it as word, and when I show you what the definition of logos is and how it's about 8 pages long and hundreds of examples of different forms of the word, you would be amazed. You would realize, oh, I'm swimming in a deep gulf. That's where
I feel like I'm being gaslit to believe that he has all this knowledge that no one else does at this point, which, time would show that that is the case, right? That he's throwing all kinds of stuff at you to where, honestly, you won't know if you're coming and going. And if you get into the discords with all that information and all those people, you're going to be very discombobulated.
I have to get you. And that's where we're going to go with this text, because I'm going to use that to hypnotize you. Yes, somebody asked, how do you find the muse? That's a good question. That's something worth answering. Yeah, remember, in the center, the auditon, they call it, of the temple. Yeah, it's the part that carries the image, the eidolon. In the central point of the temple of the muse is a phallus. Yeah. So how do you find the muse? I would look for beauty, and
he is bringing in the brothelry right now. Not that I am saying that ancient prostitution should be seen as smut houses, and I'm not saying that women that prostitute should be seen as smuts. What I'm saying is this is an introduction into the brothelry, which, as time would tell, he is cultivating in his environment. Those around him are cultivating in the environment the scene of the brothelry. He calls anyone that speaks out against him the brothel, which is complete projection on to people that are dissenters.
Would look for a phallic center. Yeah. You can't get away from that, Eros. As we're learning magic, because I'll show you a couple of magic texts, and the bad stuff too. By the way, I thought I should probably say, in all fairness, I need to issue a warning. The material that I work with, the educational material that I want to expose you to, it tends to be difficult to digest.
Yeah. Wonder why. I wonder why.
Not because the concepts are hard to understand, but they are so shocking to our Victorian senses that I'm typically required to maintain a very family-friendly scientific terminology for these body parts. And this.
Really? This is my issue too. He's trying to maintain this scientific professionalism while the artwork has become just unexcusable.
Processes they go through and the things that they produce and the communion. And when it comes down to it, when people find out that the communions for the ancient mysteries were body fluids.
Yes, Paula.
Sexual fluids, you know, and you're reading Galen and you're like, oh my goodness, how long is this description of the serous component of prepubertal male ejaculate? Yeah, it becomes, you know, you realize what they're doing and kind of the depths to which they go. I swore when I was a grad student and I was pulled into my committee that was overseeing my dissertation. When they told me, the head of the department got me by myself and they said, you'll get your dissertation as long as you take out the chapter on recreational drugs. It was pharmacy in Rome. They said, take out the chapter on recreational drugs. So to get your PhD. And I said, why? And they said, the head of the department said, the Romans just wouldn't do such a thing. I almost laughed. I had to stop. And I vowed at that time to always dig as deeply as I could possibly go to see the real. And I've seen some, for example, Smyrna. This is the perfect time for us to mention Smyrna. You know, the time ship is cooling. We're going to step outside and walk around. But as it's cooling, you know, we have this thing called Smyrna. You can get Smyrna from the priestesses on Cyprus. Yeah, the priestesses of Aphrodite. And it's an oil.
So setting up priestesses of healing as like a brothelry, right? Not setting it up as sacred spaces for healing. No, because we're here to profane the mystery.
It's an oil compounded of a toxin that is used in arrows in Scythia by Scythian archers. And these are real Amazonian, Black Sea, Bronze Age types. I've got an actual video of one of these that the Ukrainian Joan of Arc that I want to show you in just a minute, so that we can have a living image of the Virgin Mother. Yeah, Joan of Arc. Another comment here. It looks like, yeah. What incense are we using? Lord Sobek, it's always with the incense. I hereby charge you with the keeping of the templum.
Listen.
And you must always
charging you, giving them little duties, little titles and stuff, helping them to completely buy into this.
Always assign us an incense, right? We're here in mourning. Keep it to the books, Sobek. We're here in mourning. So mourning the death of Jehovah. So yeah. Tell me about the Smyrna. Oh, it's this gorgeous stuff it's got a beautiful, any perfumers in the group? And I'm not, all I do is read about what they did in antiquity. So you probably love this. They're oil-based and they use myrrh, things like myrrh and frankincense as the bases for the oil for the Smyrna. And they used nard. They used something called Syrian nard. And tracking down these drugs is no fun.
It's spike nard.
No fun because they're hard to identify. But most of them, you know, thanks to the medievalists, we kept a pretty good track of which plants are which. So yeah, anyway, some Syrian nard. And, you know, you've got your opium and you've got your purple. And that's that stuff you get from the...
Here's the purple intro right here.
Mollusk that lives at the, in the Mediterranean. You pull that thing up. That's why the Phoenicians are the Phoenicians. You know why they call them Phoenicians, don't you? It's like Heracles' dogs, baby. It's why they've got that purple stripe on their mouth. Yeah, you got it. Sometimes the eyes. Yeah, that's cool stuff. We'll save that. Yeah, we'll save that. I think we're on a good train.
Sometimes the eyes. Did you hear that? Smeared it on their mouth. Sometimes the eyes. Now, who remembers the photos from the band tour where they've got this painted on their eyes, the purple under their eyes as the makeup?
Go out and take the folks out into the ship. Please pull up our text, our holy text. If you'll all turn with me to today's hymn, our Theriac of Andromachus, number 3. Yep, there we go. Okay, I want to read you the first couple of lines of that. Kluthi poluthroniu briaron. Briaron is a word that, he's using it here to modify strength, but it means like the ultimate, the highest. And it's used in cult context all the time. It's gorgeousness, gorgeous. Anyway.
This is one of the few times he'll actually cite his sources.
Stenos antidotoio. first couplet. Let me finish the second line so I can get the first couplet in. Caesar ademandu dotor eleutheries. Bring up my face. Yeah. There's no translation of this. So I will translate it for you. Fortunately, I've got a couple of cheats because this is written in a form very, very similar to the Orphic hymns.
So he said there's no translation of it, correct? There's no second source translation. So you have no other choice but to go by what he's saying, taking him face value at his word.
The best daters put the date on those at around late Bronze Age, pre-Homeric. Yeah, good stuff. Anyway, the late people who date those things late, they're guessing, and they're terrible linguists because we have Mycenaean influence. So that's early. Mycenaean's early, right? That's the old Greek. That's this stuff. That's this stuff. That's the name of a god in Mycenaean Linear B. The Mede or the Medea or the Medewa. You like that? I like that. Anyway,
right.
Caesar. Yeah, so you can see who it's addressed.
Right, Ashes. Let's call attention to Ashes' comment here because we do know that he is still very much in that alignment and energy. Very much still in that alignment and energy. We see it in his fascination of Maddie and the Joan of Arc role he's placed her in. Yep. Yeah, he's giving her an energy signature for sure.
What it's doing is it's following liturgical performance, right? This is liturgy. This is a direction. It's a song. So we're guiding the images in the song to fit the initiation. You can imagine that you're sitting. Yes, we actually have a text that you could hear if you were sitting in an ancient initiation. Let that sink into your head for 1 minute. I have brought you today a text that has not surfaced in 2,000 years into our language. I'm bringing.
Only I can do it, and only I can show you. You must follow me if you want to know the mystery.
You now, I'm making that temple. Did I say temple? That temple of Babylon, I am making that tower, connecting to you through the waters. Okay, here we go. Hear me.
I see it as him connecting consciousnesses with people, and he's connecting with people that way. His Tower of Babel.
Lucy, it's an imprecation. Who do you normally imprecate? Here, this is what they said. Did you hear the priestess? She's singing now, and she's got the Smyrna on, and the Smyrna is on her private parts. And that's important because we're going to drink a mixture of her ejaculation. And that is going to put us in the place where we can see everything, not just our dimension, but the other one that, I don't know if the guys at MIT are right, but the one that sits over us and occupies the same space, I'll let them, they can work out the physics. But that's what we're here for. We're here to bring that resurrection. And you say, wait a minute, resurrection? Are you kidding? You Satanist? Yes. Here's a key for the word today, Satan. Satan, you'll be told by some, mostly by the people who do the Semitic languages. They'll say, oh, God, we have to figure out what this is from. It can't be, it's got to be from Hebrew or Aramaic. It's got to be, no. It's just Saturn from Mycenaean, and the rho gets swallowed into the new, which is common. So Satan is Saturnian worship. It's Saturnian worship. So get your holiness.
Okay, who worships the black cube of Saturn? Do you see all the myth spinning that's going on and the overlapping with all this symbolism?
Together, land on your feet, and realize that we have a type of mystery that is from the Bronze Age that is functioning. Yes, for your perception, the thing that you should know right now that you didn't know is that Judaism and Christianity are the development of satanic Bronze Age mystery cult. This is where the sons of God got all their drugs, right? A lot of drugs. Can we go to drugs yet? Are there any drugs? We got to keep reading our text. I've got to.
Okay, this says, is Saturnalia worship of Satan? Can we agree that the cube and Y represent Satan? How about the Antichrist? Can it be the Jesuit X? If these are correct, I know who he is, no doubt, 100%. So this person is talking about, I think he's maybe talking about XY chromosomes. I have no idea.
I've got a question. Let me consult the dead.
Yeah, so you're noticing Saturn and Satan as being the same. Yeah, very much so. Very much so. So let's show it. Let's, instead of me giving you BS, let's just look at the text. What does that text say? Bring the text back up, number 3. Yeah, hear me. And who do you usually hear when a priestess starts saying this? She's imprecating the God that you are worshiping, the one whose power you are drawing down. Okay, the witches call this drawing down the moon, right?
Gosh.
Because that's the goddess that they drew down. But in our initiation, in our
Vesper, you better be on good behavior.
Saturnian or satanic initiation, who are we calling down? Who's it? And it puts Caesar into the place. Nero. Interesting. Sounds like some sort of interest must have been in the palace with Nero. If his priestesses are going to be involved in cult, that this court magus of his, he's called an iatro, an archaeatrix, an archaeatrix, right? He's the highest physician.
See, he's having to think out what he's going to tell you all.
Right? There was a time, long story short, there was a time in Rome, first century, there's a medicus or a doctor who is assigned, usually someone with Greek training, who is assigned to the whoever happens to be in power, whichever the emperor happens to be emperor of the day, right? And that archmage position ultimately becomes the body physician, right? By the time of Galen and Marcus Aurelius, because that's really what Galen is. He's the
So now he's mixing magic and medicine right here. He is sped up to 1.5 as well.
Personal body physician. Anyway, so it only makes sense that Galen is bringing us these old, look at this. Look at what Nero's number one physician, look what his arch doctor said.
Thank you, Vesper.
Yeah, and here it is. Here. Okay, let's get into the formula and let's see. Cluthi, poluthroniu, priaron, stenos, antetoia. Wow, what is he saying? Yeah, listen up, Caesar. Hear, O Caesar. Put in your ears, Caesar, what? The unassailable strength of the polythronic antidote. The polythronic antidote. Poluthronos is a word. It just literally means many thrones. But I told you I was going to teach you some Orphic Vox.
Yep.
And here's where we start.
He's going to teach you something that Otto Kern brought out in like the 1800s. I don't know. I have to double check the time frame, but it's a recent history. It's not ancient history.
Poluthronos, right? Poluthronion. That word, many throne. Throne is pharmakon, a power. A throne is a seat from which power is administered. A many-throned drug is a polypharmaceutical. Okay, you could have just said that. But since you have ears to hear, this is where these powers are coming from. You wanted to see the throne of Satan, right? Give me a hands up if you wanted to see the throne of Satan. Because that throne is that pharmacological power. That's why they call them wizards, sorceresses. I'm going to go to your questions here.
See how he's mixing and myth making? He's putting Saturn and Satan together with emperors and priestesses and brothels and drug mixtures and the color purple.
Being told what is that document you keep showing? What is that? Good question. What is that? Yeah, well, it's a German edition of the Corpus Medicorum Graecorum, if you must know, nosy bird. And it comes from those Germans in the early, it's probably 28, 29, 30, something like that, who were doing the body of medical works from antiquity. We have these great medical works nobody knows about. You go to any classicist, you can ask them, right? Give me some works on antidotes, right? There's a whole genre on antidotes alone. Galen has like a 700-page book on antidotes. Nobody ever.
Okay, I found Otto Kern. All right, here's just a wiki quick look. So he was from 1863 to 1942. So he was around during World War I time. And he was a German classical philologist, archaeologist, and epigraphist. He specialized in the field of ancient Greek religion, being known for his investigations of the Greek mystery cults and Orphism, as well as ancient city of Magnesia on the Meander, and later also the history of ancient studies In 1909, he became professor at the University of Halle-Wittenberg, where he became rector in 1915-16. Yeah.
Touches it. It's full of stuff that makes you wonder. Okay, I need to take them back. Hurry, we need to get them on board with this. Give them a stiff injection. Yeah. So hear me. Hear the great strength of the many-throned antidote. Okay, Caesar. Yeah, what kind of antidote? It's got a name. It's got a 3-word name. Arimanto dotor eleutheries. Oh, it's beautiful. The giver of unconquerable freedom. And when they say unconquerable, they mean you are in a position of not being able to be overthrown because you have no fear.
See, he's telling you that unassailable freedom that he promised you all during the first Danny Jones interview is no fear. So you get on the throne, you take these drugs, they mess with your mind, you have no consciousness, your morals drop to depravity, and here we have it.
No fear. It turns out God was a liar. Yeah, in our universe, take a look outside. Step outside the ship and take a look. Because in our universe of this first century, where Paul reads the Septuagint in Greek, because there is nothing in Hebrew, he reads it in Greek, and everybody quotes it in Greek. At this age, we have to say, what is this? What is going on here with the words? What are they showing us in the words? Where are we going? And that's what I'm trying to do here with you, the giver of unassailable freedom. Wait, did he just call a drug a provider of freedom?
There
yes.
we go.
And I'll show you a hymn that will show you the Savior
Kern.
through whom you can actuate the mystery. Yeah, it's amazing stuff. Remember, we're profaning. On that next line, line 3, El Dion. He says, look, she's got names. They call her things in different places, right? That third line, Hilaren, they call her Hilare. You've heard the word hilarious in English. This is the original hilarious. You want to know what that was? That was a procession of buckets.
Yeah, good call.
In March, opening the month of Mars at its apex. Yeah, love it. And who do we worship? We worship Cybele. Why do you think we're mourning? Because he died, and we're going to raise him again. Isn't that?
So they turned, this is my theory of these ancient gods and goddesses. They turned the how to know when in the sky, the wheel in the sky that tells us the seasons, that marks the seasons and the change of the tide and everything. They named them after gods and goddesses, and they linked it to when to harvest, when to plant, right? And when you're dealing with these types of natural plant medicines, you have to know which part of the plant and when to cut it, when to harvest it, because maybe the plant's root is stronger at night than it is during the day. So you want to cut it at night. Maybe the petals are stronger on the full moon instead of on the new moon. So this is really, to me, tales of keeping up with agriculture, and they had to put stories around it so that the common folk, the farmers, the hunter-gatherers, people, that those types of people could remember.
Something. Who wants salvation now? Who wants salvation? Yeah. Hilaren, they call her. They also call her what? Gelene. They call her the peace. That's like the peace, the rest, the calm. And they call her Eodion. Eodion comes from El, prefix El, meaning good or well, and Dion. What looks like, we think it's probably from Zeus, ultimately, from the word for God. Yeah. So that which bestows the Eodaimon. Yeah, cool. Why? Because you got to remember, these people you've already taken a drug. You've already taken the communion, and you've entered a state of frenzy, right? And you're dying. So you need Galene. You need the antidote to bring you back, right? If
you need the Galene. Was that not Zeus's little boy?
Remember, I forgot. All of this is about resurrection and birth, rebirth, death. And your vision of the cosmos, something that I cannot charge you for technically, your vision of the cosmos is that process. And this is a prison. This is a prison. That is because we stepped out of the time ship, right? This is how the world is working. This is how the quantum cognitive stream is flowing. Okay, so these are resurrection, death and resurrection mysteries. Okay, so he's about to go through a list of drugs. And of those drugs, I just want to put some of these plants up here. He mentions opium. And remember, opium's not a big deal because, Virgil in the Georgics tells us how to cultivate opium. He writes a work about farming and he tells us this is how you grow opium.
Yeah.
And because they're using a ton of opium in antiquity. And it's in medicine, it's a huge, killing pain is a huge deal, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she got kicked out of the garden, right? Forced into that episode of pain, right? Because they took away her drugs, right? You weren't supposed to open her eyes and make her like us.
I think so. Yeah, I mean, he's wanting to, bring back Babylon. Yep. Hold on. Babel's destiny. Yeah, it's a lot of word salad. And if he told his group to build something, they'd probably do it. It would fall over a week because they're all idiots. Ganymede. Yeah, that was Ganymede. Okay. Yeah, this is how you do it. This is a prison. Yeah, he's trying to teach it. Yeah, we're going to chant it down.
Bronze Age. It's Bronze Age cult. Fantastic. Lots of snakes. He's about to talk to you about some of the snakes that are involved in the cult. And he tells us in one line I just want to mention, he tells us that these things are even more powerful. Galene, the theriac, the beast, is more powerful than any toxin of any serpent.
But the beast is not a beast. It's an amalgamation of substances.
Yeah. So these people were heavy. Flash up some serpents. Heavy into the venoms. And in this one, they add scorpion venom. So I'm not quite sure if the guys in Pakistan who are now smoking scorpion might be able to fill you in on the intricacies of the psychedelic benefits, health benefits of smoking the scorpion. But it's in it. So the toxin is in it. And remember, this is the luscious part. Don't you want to hear it. Throw me up some more of the drugs. We're also talking about, hemlock. Everybody loves hemlock, right? Yep, there's the hemlock. Pretty green. Oh, that's nice. And everybody talks about that because Socrates had to drink the hemlock, right? But they know it.
He's propping up all these plants that take you deep into the underworld and you lose your morals. Morals start to slowly dissolve.
Can be used at low concentration, right? You just don't when you compound it, you make it with the right dosages of everything. And when you do that with the hemlock, you turn yourself into a party guy, right? You find these people in the streets on all fours, right? It's legal in the taverns. You can buy all these drugs in the Roman marketplace, right? You buy everything right from all over the their trading influence, right? So but you got the spices and you got all the goodies and you got all of these North African vipers that they're selling the venom. They're selling the venom of the viper in the marketplace, right? So you take these.
They're selling the actual theriac, Hillman. They sold the mixture, the actual mixture.
Is the one who tells us that if you want to look him up, it's in his Civil Wars. He's quite this aficionado of snakes and the different types of venom that can do different things to your body. And there's such cool descriptions in these medical texts. Oh man, you get bitten by the dipsass, and what does it do to you? It's a horned viper from north there. Oh look, he showed himself on the screen. Yep, devil is always there, right? See his horns? Now you know why Moses has horns, right? Bring him back up. No, bring us up. Bring him. There he is. Take a look at him for a minute and realize that you're milking him and you're adding him to opium and you're adding him to things like hemlock and the deep purple dye that comes out of the bottom of the Mediterranean from that shellfish. And you're taking that and you're anointing. That is, you're greasing up, you're lubricating an alabastron, right? Which we all know. I told you guys.
Okay, I think we already figured out that the burning purple would sear a poor anus, would it not? Would it not? What, like, why would you do that unless you were like a junkie almost, right? Like, I can see junkies totally willing to allow their butt to burn in order to get that high.
As that before, that's Mary's medicated dildo, right? Because in antiquity, you don't have injection technology. They don't make those tiny gauge needles and stick those things. No, but you got perfect.
So he's profaning the mystery by making everything grotesque and removing the sacredness of the unions completely. There's no sacred union speak here.
Good avenue up your backside, right? You can put drugs in there that can have immediate access, and there might be benefits to, and so you know what neighborhood you're in, right? You have the aphrodisiacs, and you got the you got the priestess, and she's with the hymn, and she's got the purple in the Smyrna that is then being ejaculated into the tripod, and all of a sudden you're in a polypharmaceutical wonder world. And what happens to the fetus? This, you guys will love this. I mean, we gotta, if we're doing this.
So it sounds like to me that he is glorifying male ejaculation, like all of the ejaculation going on has a medicinal value.
It's all the way. We got to tell you what they're doing. I mean, this is usually where I get interrupted, right? But I want you to know this, right? She, under the influence of the god on Sabbath, is able to ejaculate your hyma of communion.
Hyma.
Yeah.
Hyma mean the hymen, mean the virgin, mean to take a virgin.
Yeah, and that is part of a process that contains her embryo and the drugs that either killed that embryo and flushed it into your communion or allowed her to produce the Son of God, right? If that child lived, bathe that thing in the viper venom. And what do you get? You get 2 out of 3 dead babies is what you get, right? But that third is a giant. Yeah.
So they lift it up and they praise it and they turn it into a hero.
They say you burn off their mortality. Does anybody want to know how to burn off your mortality? I would like to know that. I would like to know.
Yeah.
It's women who have given us this, right? And this is before Proto-Hebrew, right? This is before anything that you think is even remotely what you call Christian. It's the foundation for Christianity, made by women, right? The first example we have of a savior is a sotera, a female savior, who is the great midwife. That's right. Many of you out there don't know your own mother, right? But she stands at the gate. This midwife stands at the gateway, the entrance, when I was kicked out of St. Mary's University and charged with demon possession and portal opening.
Oh, yeah. So we just caught Hillman in a lie right here, everyone. Where's my sound effects? Sound effects. Yep. Yep. We all know that's a lie.
Right? You don't get portal opening without her. For those of you who want the quantum physics, I don't care. Figure it out. Become geniuses. That's not my bag.
See, he's mixing what he really did there, with portal openings, and what a mess.
The point is that the first savior is a woman. There is a good reason that Jesus is arrested in a
Now, I want to know, when he was talking about he was let go because of demon possession, why he didn't bring up the portrait of the girl who was the lead in the play of Medea.
Dawn raid of a public park with a naked boy. The only thing they got off of him was the medicated bandage that was on his privates. Do you know what you can do? Bring us the Spanish fly. Can you bring us this? Yes. No, that's not the Spanish fly. That's the result of too much of the Spanish fly. There's a Spanish fly, right? This little guy has a tendency. He's got stuff under his wings. He's got this ooze. You can take that stuff. It is incredible Viagra It is a vasodilator. The Romans swore by it. That by its proper preparation, you could take somebody who's impotent and give them.
Right. There's a lot of holes in the story that can be punched in. Of a lot of them. Chick Jesuit, I have heard that the purple was a tingling sensation on the fingers and the mouth. He does talk about the naked babies a lot. Yep. Oh, one big pawn showed up. What did he say? He needs to be banned. He's been my stalker from way back.
A sustainable erection. And put them into what they called priapismos, priapism. Don't you love it? That guy's worshiping Priapus, the god of the erection. Yeah, and what
the fact that he would put naked little boys and Priapus together is so disturbing, because if you're a little child, a grown adult man, no matter his size, would seem like a fucking Priapus, would it not? I mean, oh god.
Comes from Priapus. What comes from Priapus is the communion. You didn't think you'd get out of the devil's party without an awakening, did you? You get the seed, the haima, the essence. That's what you get in the dirty, dirty, dirty book of Ezekiel, in the Bible. Hold that thought. The demons below want me to. Yeah, very nice. I like that. Very nice. Yeah. So let's get started, shall we? In the incantation, I want to bring you. Speaking of Amazonian Black Sea tribes, late Bronze Age, I want to show you a modern Joan of Arc. And I know some of you want to see this. I'm bringing you this clip from Newsy. And thank you to the intrepid Newsy reporter who went out to find Joan of Arc in the midst of the war and was bold enough to have some questions, some great, some not so great. But in order for us to find Joan, here she is, Joan of Arc. Go ahead, can we play Joan of Arc?
It's trying to find us, she says. If it sees her, she knows what sound could come next. The whiz, then bang of incoming artillery. Spot the target, dial it in, and fire. It's a tactic she knows well, because Emerald is a sniper. We met Emerald in a fully blacked out part of the capital, Kyiv, far from the trenches she lived in for months.
It's a very important thing.
Coming back to her home in Kyiv with no electricity feels oddly normal. And so now does being a woman fighting with an otherwise all-male squad.
Just me.
Just you.
And a lot of men.
And were they always respectful to you?
Yes, they really respect me. And they said that I'm a war genius.
They said you're a war genius?
Yes.
Did you have a nickname?
Yes.
What?
Ukrainian Joan of Arc.
Ukrainian Joan of Arc.
See, in the first episode, he went and got totally political. Totally political. This right here shows you his agenda, y'all.
That title and her bright eyes and flaming red hair, the army emblazoned on a patch they made for her.
So you have to be pretty special to get to that point when your country calls upon you to go do this. And that's what they did. They looked her up because they knew how good she was in her own field. Now, any man out there who thinks that a woman shouldn't be in the military,
he's a stalker.
Yeah. Joan proves you to be the mind-controlled fool that you are.
Yes, he does.
Yeah.
Yes, he does. He wants them to war for him, for his cause. He wants warrior women to... I mean, that's why he got mad when I left. That's why he got mad when Angela left, when Ashes left. Like that, he loses the women more than he loses the men. And he gets angry, so angry. He gets so angry.
How do you break out of that ceiling? You know, there's a ceiling there that says certain things have to be certain ways. There's dogma. The satanic prime directive is to follow reason, not faith. You see this in the medieval trials of the Satanists.
He's causing you to doubt all sense of reason, however, as time has been able to show you, you lose all sense of reason and you totally buy into the drift.
That they refuse doctrine or dogma. They insist upon reason. That reason is the gift of the one who doesn't lie. You follow. It turns out Satan is called a liar, but the very first liar in the book of Genesis, the very first liar is God.
Yeah.
God says,
That's
you don't want to eat that tree.
That's heavy, Paula. This right here, super friggin' heavy. How can you do that to people? He's literally putting a target on other people's heads. Why would he do that? Why would he work so hard to get the target on other people's heads? Right? So you don't look at him. So you stay busy looking all around you at what he's pointing at, that you do not look at him. You don't psychoanalyze him. You don't judge him. You don't check sources. You don't think twice about what he could be talking about.
Because their eyes will be opened and they'll be like us, right? He doesn't want them to have that knowledge. Right? And he says, when this happens, this will happen. The devil says, who's the guardian, right? Who's this devil dragon guy guarding the fruit, right? If you know the cult, the Bronze Age cult, you'll know what that dragon is. A dragon, the Greeks said this. Dragons are temple guardians, right? They're usually guarding relics. They have something to do with relics. And you usually have Medusae as a kind of class of dragon, right? They've got that poison. They put it in their hair that puts you down immediately. It's a neurotoxin. They just got to nick you with that stuff, right? Turns you to stone. So Lucifer is there with the tree, right? And the fruit. And he's like, no, he doesn't want you to do that because your eyes will be open.
Myth spinning. He is overlapping so many different stories here.
Well, what happened? Their eyes were open, right? So this is where the Nag Hammadi comes in and kicks us all on the undercarriage, pointing out that God, Jehovah, has no foresight. Isn't that a simple principle? The Great Mother just told you something about the Father God. He's got no foresight. He can't see the future. If he could, he wouldn't have put him in the garden in the first place. He wouldn't have had to kick anybody out. He's a failure. And it turns out she's the ruler here. You know, and so what was the dragon doing? The dragon was guarding the fruit of Ewa, right? Which happens to mean in Greek, the shout of the Bacchan. You know, the shout of the Bacchan. So, okay, a little perspective here. I need you to see that when Jesus is arrested in a public park at 4 a.m. with a naked boy and a medicated rat.
Oh, we have some gore.
I need you to see that there is something going on here. He has the boy's hyma, right, on his face. He asked not to take the cup. Something in the cup is bothering him. By the way, what's the cup? We'll see if we continue reading.
What is he even saying? Are we talking about a little boy or are we talking about the girl's cup? Right? Uterine discharge, or we talk about little boys. What are we doing here?
This text to Nero, we'll see, this Theriac, we'll see that the cup is the Savior. They provide you with the communion. They are the cup. And that kolpos, or that vagina, was that original cup. Right? They looked at the uterus as the chamber of death. And it's from that death, through the Savior, she who guards the doorway. Right? That phrase, I stand at the doorway, guess what? Just like money is the root of all evil, that is not new to the first century, right? It's not new. The Satanists were testing people with money long before Jesus was ever saying.
Right. The history of money comes through the history of trading animal flesh and trading animals and the barter system. So it is not evil in itself, not at the root.
Hey, money is the root of all evil. Those are vox, those are the wokes of the voices of the Orphic dragons. In the end of today's session.
So he threw Orphic in there so you could make the connection of, to have ears to hear, you have to be able to pick up what he's putting down with Otto Kern speak.
And I want to go to questions now because I think we've looked at enough text and people have gotten enough in their brain, right? It's enough to chew on. That I'd like to go to you now so that you're not just sitting there, because I appreciate your time and I want to acknowledge your time. And I want you to ask some questions, but I want your questions to be directed toward that which we are venerating, right? We are venerating that midwife, that great mother who is the source of death and life. And why are we doing that? Because this is an initiation. The Romans, and you're about to do this, whether you like it or not, you are going to meet her. She is latum. She is death. And if
you're being initiated, it's like you don't even have a choice at this point. I had to say that.
You know her now, and she brings you back to life.
Yeah.
To a new birth. Yeah. Then you will have ionic life. And you say, what is ionic life? We don't have the concept today. We translated that one as eternal life. We took a wrong turn through the Latin. It's hilarious. Yeah, no, it's ionic. And the ion is outside chronos. The ion is that which bounds it. The Pythagoreans talked about this. Yes. This was one of their contributions. Anyway, let's get to your questions. If you want ionic life, let's talk about who'd like to go ahead. Give me a good question. Bernie.
Who are you talking about, Gizzy? Are you talking about One Big Pond? You're talking about One Big Pond. He's a stalker from a long time ago, and I'm not. I'm being stalked enough. I don't want to be stalked anymore. Everything they said about Neil turned out to be completely opposite of who Neil is. It's propaganda. They say I'm throwing a tantrum. Well, yeah, they are hosting. Yeah, and they're harboring. They're hosting and they're harboring. So they're going to fight to defame anyone that's going to show what they're about, right? They absolutely will. And that's, being hated is something that people on the internet that show truth have to get used to. I'm still not used to it. I think it's wrong, but it's part of being in this wild, wild west internet. It's deplorable. Too bad for them. I don't think I would be a good mod. Oh, quick draw. Yeah. I think Angel's that way. Hillman acts so sweet, and he really has more hubris than anyone. He does, and you have to really be able to see the forest and trees thing. This video is during a time when he was still working. Yes, it was. I'm the people's mod. I know who they don't. Yeah, that's for sure. He is perverting the grail. He's perverting the sacred union of opposites, right? The Heros Gamos is what is being perverted here. And there is a sacredness in the union in masculine and feminine. There is great power there, right? The love of money. Thank you, Paula. Yes. The love of money, the worship of money. Mammon, the worship of Mammon is evil because it puts the physical above the spiritual. That is the inverted pentagram, right? It's putting the physical above the spiritual, when the upright pentagram is the way of spirit over matter. So Hillman spinning same lie about money as those who invented its control. Probably it's not. It's intentional. What misjudgment? Stalkers are lame. They are, and they just, yeah. I'm just waiting for one of the Ammonites to file some sort of lawsuit because of the can of worms and a discovery. Yeah, that is what Ashley's been talking about. That's what Ashley's been talking about because, threats of lawsuits is why Sean Atwood removed the interviews off his channel, but Ron kept it up, and Snappy didn't. Snappy did not sue Ron. It's still up, right? So, if Snappy was so diehard about the lawsuits, he would have sued Ron. He would have come after me. Right? Good to see you again, EDM. We're still going. Money is weird. It's a convenient value and trade system. Yeah, we all have to sacrifice. Right. And anytime we have to use it, we're going into contract with whoever we're buying or selling to. Yeah. what they say about, they say horrible, horrible, horrible things about Neil. Horrible things, because Ammon cannot have his followers like Neil. They don't. He doesn't want you to like Neil. He doesn't want you to listen to Neil. He doesn't want you to listen to Derek. He doesn't want you to listen to anybody but him. Only him, right? And this is not a cult. However, the tenets of a cult is the leader claims to have the one true thing, whatever the thing is. Yeah. No, they can't. I don't know, because what he did is he blocked me to where I can't see what he's saying. Everybody else could see him, but I went and I banned him.
Off immortality. Are you saying woman dams are immortality? No. What they're doing is they're taking the child and they are burning off its mortality. We have this depicted vividly with the Eleusinian mysteries, and it's a fright.
How in the world do you even do that to a child that's young? Like, why would you even need to do that? Right? He makes it sound like there's a way to give like vampiric everlasting life. Of course, maybe that's it. Maybe it is. Maybe it is a form of narcissistic programming, right? Maybe he's talking about the original MK Ultra programming, the mind fuck programming that starts from birth, that a lot of these people have talked about when looking at narcissistic abuse, cult dynamics, secret societies, all of this rolled into one. That's the only thing that makes sense to me. Burning off mortality, right? Not giving a fuck what anybody else thinks. You have to let go of your spirit and your consciousness, right? You have to let go of these moral fibers that is embedded into our society that we're raised up in. That's the only thing that makes sense to me.
Frightening process, and it kills 2 out of 3. So what do we do?
Get the garlic. Try to get some spray. Silver.
Are we killing our own children? The physics of it, this is cool. I read this. The physics of it are that you are actually entangled with a number of souls that inhabit the all of being, the cosmos.
The cosmos he's referring to is your known reality, and he's talking about group consciousness, hive-mindedness.
Right? And those souls can influence things that happen around you. It's basic ancient necromancy. It's absolutely fantastic. But if we're going to go into take you to initiation, we need to look at that.
If we're talking about necromancy and we're dealing with the dead, we're absolutely in line with the vampiric energies.
What happens to the soul? You got and the only way to figure that out is to separate you from your body, right? Okay, wait, we'll get to that. Another question.
Talking about disassociation. So in the GATE program, when they're testing kids and they're looking for kids with high psychic abilities, they're also looking for the ones that can disassociate very easily, because what comes with disassociation is remote viewing. When you're remote viewing, you are you've disassociated from your body. That's what he's talking about. Because, okay, let's put it this way. If that's not what he's talking about, none of this fucking shit makes sense. None of it makes sense. It's just a bunch of word garbage dump.
Okay. Priestess Pythia, can you tell us what's in the whore's cup? What is the porneia? It seems obvious, but I want to hear it from the devil's lusty lips. Oh, I like that. That's
the whore's cup. I thought we were talking about the virgin. Now the virgin and the whore is the same. This is complete mind fuck.
A lot of alliteration there. I applaud you. Who is that from? Brian. Okay, excellent. A poet. You make me want to smell the essence of Lord Byron.
Paula, yeah.
What is the cup of the porneia, right? Because whoever drinks of it, what happens to those people? Yeah. And who is she? And they always separate her, because I know you're talking about, Brian, I know you're talking about the whore of Babylon, they call her, which personally I think is a terrible name. But they always want to separate her from that woman who is having that child. You know, Joan conceived.
See, what he's wanting is he does call a lot of artists and musicians to him. He knows that women can be lured in and subdued through music, through musicians, to idolize the men and to seek after them, to be pick-me's, to want their attention.
On the battlefield. We all think that she's the Virgin Mother, but we will find that child and we will devour it, right? Chapter 12 of the Apocalypse. Remember, these writings belong to the Sibyls before they do John, right? They're calling the early Christians Sibylists for a good reason. Okay, Satanism. I'm showing you the operation of Satanism, which gives birth to Judaism and Christianity. Okay, let's go. Let's get another good question. Have you read Pascal, Beverly Rudolph, the claim that communion with semen? This sort of started the sex magic movement. Western. Okay. When it comes to things that I've read, I listened to my advisor, who told me the secondary stuff, anything anybody else has written about it, forget about it. Right? You don't need theories. Go back to the primary sources. So unfortunately.
So here we go. First episode, primary sources. Don't read anything else, but listen to him. Listen to his translations. Do not go to anyone else like Charles King, who would translate. That's a secondary source. Don't listen to I forgot her first name, but her last name's Harris. She's dead too. Like, don't listen to anybody else but Hillman. And unless you can read the primary sources, and he knows that none of his people can, then you're stuck listening to him and believing his translations.
The depths of my knowledge come from the primary sources, and I'm comfortable with those of antiquity and the Renaissance. But so that's kind of what I contain myself to. But you had a good point. Yeah, communion with semen. Yeah, remember? Yeah, we have sources that tell us about the semen communion, right? So we know that they have a semen communion. Some people don't like it. They're trying to tell other people to stop. Nicholas is using his wife, just like Simon, and he's got the whole thing set up where the woman is the center of the mystery, right? That's original stuff, bro. That goes back to Medea, right? That goes back to her. And so, yeah, it's
okay, but he's not even teaching respect of women. He's trashing them. He's making a brothel around them. The women that speak about him have got STDs. They've proclaimed they've slept with over 2,000 men. They're telling other women who are SA survivors that prostitution is the way of therapy to get through it all. Do you see how he's profaning the mystery? He's turning women into the brothel.
It's original. The Savior is a woman, right? She's supposed to be a woman. And why is that? Why is that? Because only her body can make the communion. So are these communions sex communions? Yeah, and it's pissing off certain people. Don't say it's angering the Christians, right?
I can give you my hypothesis. Yeah, losing fear of death, burning off mortality, giving away to your morals, right? When you live without fear of consequences and repercussions, you'll go out and do whatever you want, right? You'll just live your life and you'll not have any consequences. Basically, like we see with the Hooper guy. That's just my hypothesis.
It's angering some of the Christians, right? The ones, what about the ones that are in the underground and doing, those Romans are always arresting people because it's turning out somebody's taking somebody's kid off the street and abusing them, sexually abusing them. And then you get into okay, here, you want to go somewhere satanic? I'll take you somewhere satanic. I have seen a priest become possessed with the devil to sodomize a boy who had been starved for weeks, stripped naked, oiled from the bottom of his feet.
Hold on, he watched this? Is that what he just said? He watched it? Let's go back. Let's see, where are we?
You know, those Romans, they're always arresting people because it's turning out somebody's taking somebody's kid off the street and abusing them, sexually abusing them. And then you get into you get into, okay, here, you want to go somewhere satanic? I'll take you somewhere satanic. I have seen a priest become possessed with the devil to sodomize a boy who had been starved for weeks, stripped naked, oiled from the bottom of his feet to the top of his head. That's a religious
starved so they are weak and cannot fight.
Phrase, by the way, used in cult, right? And then sodomize. Now the boy's task is to scream out the refutation, right? This is the early church. This is what some of the things the Romans were bringing him up on charge.
But he said he's seen it.
Just for, right? Especially in Alexandria. Alexandria is a hotbed for this. You want to be involved with your boys, you go to Alexandria. It's no reason that Clement of Alexandria and pseudo Clement, talks about Jesus performing the mystery on the boys, right? It's no wonder he talks about that. A lot of stuff is coming out of the area. Maybe it's cultural there. Maybe it's, I don't know.
Ash, if you're listening, I hope you picked that up. Pseudo Clement talking about Jesus.
No, you have to, but it's tolerated. And anyway, the Romans get involved because then you can't, law is law, bro. Right? So, yeah. So what do you do with these priests? Anyway, what the goal of it, you got to get this though. This is the, when you put that boy into that state, what you're doing, you've drugged him, right? And what you're doing is you're causing him to enter the ecstatic release, the orgasm, as you and I would call it, right? And
okay, this is really disgusting. So you starve the child, you drug the child, and then you force the child to orgasm.
When he's in that state, he's supposed to renounce at that climax. He's supposed to shout out and renounce the devil, who has possessed the priest who is sodomizing him, following the way of Cain, right? He's administering that drug anally on his own medicated.
Following the way of Cain. He's telling you what to do. And in other videos, I've shown the whole initiation process and the way of Cain. So now he's tied Cain to graping a starved, drugged child.
Body part. Yeah. And that kid is supposed to shout out. He's supposed to say no. And if he does, then he's saved forever. All right. And we're told by the author of this that the catechumen or the kid that's involved sometimes can be emotionally distraught. You got to give them you got to baptize them after this, right? Wash them off. And sometimes they're distraught for weeks, right? Afterwards, you have to talk to them. And they'll ask you questions. Why the nakedness? Why did I have to be naked during this whole process?
Right.
Because Jesus was naked on the cross.
Who knows?
Right? There's relationships. They were giving him anti-venom. Right? Don't tell anyone this is just between us. But they were giving Jesus anti-venom on the cross. There's formulas for that specific antivenom.
No, it's
and it
not,
causes that thirst.
man.
And it's from that dipsass snake. It causes you to be really thirsty. So no wonder he's sitting there crying out about being thirsty. And then, spills his, when he gets lanced, spills out a ton of water with his blood, right? Because he was drinking a lot. He was thirsty. He didn't want that cup with that boy. Oh, God, how am I going to do this? But he did it. He ended up doing it because he got the stuff all over his face. Did Galen describe to you? He'll describe to you what prepubertal boy ejaculation is like, right? This is not something new. Let me just add this, pile this on, then we got to go.
Okay, so we need somebody who can read Galen to see if we can find that description where Galen talks about this.
I'm talking too much. Back to questions. Saint Cyprian comes out of the graveyard with the viper venom drooling out of his butt. I'm sorry for my family guests. Out of his rectum. What else should I say? Out of his anus. What's the proper term? Out of his hole? No, I don't think it's no. I think the most polite term would be out of his buttocks. Yeah. Anyway, he's with a couple of prostitutes, so-called, and he's in the cemetery. Was he doing the mystery? You bet he was. Right? Get thee behind me, Satan. Yeah. So we've got a lot to learn. There's a lot that, if we're going to grow this baby inside of us, that's the Son of God, then we've got to learn our drugs and we've got to learn what they're doing with the drugs, because we've got all the specifics there. And part of this formula,
growing a baby, learning the drugs, what are they doing? What does growing a baby have to do with taking all these drugs? Sitting on the throne, following the way of Cain.
Started reading tonight that I'll maybe continue next time, talks about what time and where and how often to have intercourse during the process, right? Because the ejaculate is the I mean, imagine it. They're taking a drug from a person. They're taking a drug from a person, and that person's body is creating the substance that allows you to kick yourself into the dual universe that exists around. You'll see two suns, I promise you. And you'll know. And once you know, you'll be able to speak the language then. You'll understand and you'll have ears to hear.
Ears to hear. So you take the drug, you're just magically, you're going to get it. You're going to get it, and you're going to have ears to hear. And he's not even talking about translations at this point. He's not talking about teaching you the Greek at all.
Have ears to hear. And you'll be able to calm the winds, right? Because you have Galene. If you have her, you have everything. And that's what Nero's arch doctor is talking about. He's grabbing that from an ancient religious rite. Let's go quickly to questions, and then I don't want to take forever. It's been an hour, and you people have graciously given me your time. I just want to see if does anybody have any feedback? Do they have any questions about gaining the ears to hear? That's what we're doing. Are there other ways for people who don't have access to these exotic ingredients? This is a question that I've gotten a lot in the past 2 years. I discussed my research with Dr. Carl Ruck, who was the one who broke Eleusis, that, hey, they were using a drug in Eleusis, right? And everyone's like, no, they could. Right. So I send my research back and forth to him, and there's been an author who has taken.
So he has pressed Ruck like he pressed Danny Jones, and Ruck has disowned him at this point.
My work and other people's work, and woven a modern piece on the communion. Yeah. And I get that question. How do we? Okay, so say we're a billionaire. And we want to have access to this thing. We're not going to build a giant penis-shaped rocket ship. We're going to build a drug that's going to shoot.
Okay, say we're a billionaire. Is he talking about Hooper during this time right here? Say we're a billionaire, building a rocket ship.
Shoot us to the other side. Yep. We're going to come back, and we're gonna have incredible power, quantum power. We'll be able to entangle everyone. Control everything. The muse's voice will write everything. It's gorgeousness, right? No, you can't, because you have to have a person, right? You have to have her. You have to have that goddess who can produce for you the substance that makes you alive from death, right? That which brings you back, that which puts you into death and brings you back. You have to be able to have that priestess, that oracle. And we don't have that oracle. She would have to have been raised chemically. I mean, think of the complexity of this ancient system. They're bathing their fetus in the drugs that they themselves are using in the rites intentionally to have a specific product that can carry the voice. The mini throne. This is mini throne. You've seen the throne of Satan, right? That seal, by the way, is called trochiskos, and you put those in your bottom and they dissolve. Right. So when it talks about breaking the seal in the beast, know that you're in the right neighborhood. And this is all that matters. It's primary text. Everything else is bunk. And if you can't do the Greek, learn it. I'll teach it to you. I have a bunch of students right now teaching them all Greek. And the ones that are aggressive, they'll get there. And you'll be facing Edom. Edom. Rivers. And it all comes back. It all comes back to that Medic queen. Right. And that's why we need her. That's why she is Lady Babylon. That's why she is the enemy. Right. When people
not really sure why he turned this whole story into a savior situation, but it's also so complex that we're bringing in billionaires and a lot of people with a lot of money, because this is a goal of his, to be able to have the female virgins as this form of drug processing mechanism.
People know that Jesus Christ was arrested with a naked boy. It changes their attitude. I talked to a street preacher, the sheer logos, talked to a street preacher about that naked boy. And you could see his universe unravel, and you could see him left with the reality of what he had. Now, I didn't give you any theories tonight. I didn't tell you any of my ideas. I didn't tell you what I think. I gave you ancient sources and told you what they said, right? And that's where our strength will come from. I want to develop with you, the audience, the Orphic Vox, so that you can enter that death and resurrection, and you can see her visualized, right? You can see her.
So the Orphic Vox is his meaning that is underlying what he's saying. There's an undercurrent of meaning instead of taking him at face value. He wants to teach you the code.
All we have to do is kiss the devil's anus. Anus is a word for an assistant who prepares a drug. Right? We have
Anus is a word for an assistant that prepares a drug. He's telling you to brown nose him, is he? Is that what he's doing?
Yes, sir. She's the one who knows everything. Okay, I'm gonna look for any brilliant last minute questions. Why didn't he want our eyes open? Was there an actual reason given? Yeah, he didn't want you to be like he was. That was the reason. Right?
Mm-hmm.
Right? So what does that mean? Nice question, Gina. Yeah. Eve didn't get it. She got the apple and ended up naked. Right? She got the fruit and ended up naked. Yeah, she got it.
Always looking away.
Why wouldn't he want your eyes open? What a great question. What kind of God, as long as we're blaspheming? I mean, consider Jehovah. Consider him. He kicks out his own wife. He takes the queen and kicks her out. Forbids the honor. Forbids the honor and turns into this sex-hating fiend who couldn't get it right in the first place and had to kick everybody out of paradise. He's got no foresight, dude. Dude has no foresight. How can we follow that? It's a shame. The death, here at his.
Okay, I've had enough. Who else wants to see old Hillman again? Let's see old Hillman when he's talking like he's, not totally off his rocker.
They're a little more formidable.
A little more, yes, yes.
The Elephant Mysteries ended when the Roman Empire converted to Christianity, and the sanctuary is in ruins because the Christians desecrated it.
I wonder if the Greeks used drugs for any other purposes.
Drugs were used to a wide extent in the Greek world. Even in the Greek assembly, they're equivalent of a congress.
Yep, there's the Parthenon. This is where the world's first democracy was born.
Amazing, right here.
Right here, where we're standing. And the meetings would start with purification ritual, with the burning of incense, botanical substances.
The assembly members were subjected to a fumigation of psychotropic botanicals in order to induce what they called a jovial spirit, so that they could then discuss politics.
What was incense back then?
We know they burnt frankincense and myrrh, plant resins, maybe plant leaves.
Perhaps cannabis?
It's not impossible.
Yeah.
The Greeks knew about cannabis.
Well, let me give you a little hint, okay? Where there's incense, there's cannabis.
Fumigation is very much like hotboxing. So with hotboxing, you can sit in a car with your buddies and smoke marijuana, and you get the effects of the marijuana continuously. Imagine filling the car with so much smoke that you were gasping. So it's the equivalent of taking our Congress and forcing them to inhale psychotropic drugs before they actually met to discuss legislation.
It seems like an elevated state was an important part of both religious ceremonies, political ceremonies. It was an important part of Greek life.
Well, that's true. Yeah. Intoxication was something that they thought important. There's a Greek word, pharmakon, which they used to mean medicine or poison. It's where we get the modern word pharmacology from.
The Greek physician Hippocrates, considered the father of modern medicine, recognized there might be a scientific reason that drugs affect our bodies in certain ways.
The Greeks said any substance that you could put in your body that would affect a change could be potentially both bad or good. Snake venom is one of the most commonly used drugs in antiquity.
The modern medical symbol, which we inherited from the ancient Greeks, is two snakes wrapped around a staff. This may be an indication they realized that, like snake venom, many drugs possess the power to heal and to harm.
So it seems like in the Greek society, there wasn't this moral stigma against drug use.
No, absolutely not. It wasn't really a moral issue at all. They didn't think of it in those terms. They appreciated pleasure, and that was a central part of their understanding of how you should live the good life.
So for the Greeks, drugs were all about pleasure.
They were. About pleasure on the right occasions, in the right contexts.
Much like the Greek system in college today.
I'll believe you.
All right, guys. That's all of that clip. I'm about to drop the link right here. Go enjoy it. Oh, goodness. My Facebook one is having issues. So go enjoy it. There's much, much more to enjoy from it. And yeah, Facebook probably zapped it more than likely. I'm probably going to watch more of it. All right, there is that link. I know, isn't it amazing, the transition? Yeah, I have no idea what's going on there, but the whole transition has been wild, right? Do the leftist Ammon followers ever question him doing volunteer work? Oh, I don't know. I don't know, you know, and a lot of people don't even realize, like, they've not heard that lecture either, right? They will just follow along as if it's no big deal. They just eat up what he's saying. And now that he's got this metal band behind him, he's just going to eat it all up. Or they're going to eat it all up. They're not going to look into these older videos. They're not going to look into, you know, what's not there. I mean, so many people didn't even know who I was, which I'm not surprised. Yeah. Special projects. Yeah, I think I can find that one too. Hold on, let me look. Because it's also on archive.org. I friggin' love archive, internetarchive.org. Yeah, so here they are too. So here's the ones where he's talking about being with John and also special projects, right? And this whole time, I mean, I've argued with people. No, he's not. He wouldn't be. Like, you don't know who he could be with. You have no idea. You have no idea. You know, do you ever leave it once you're in? Who knows? Okay. All right. So it's time for lunch and a walk out and to get some sun. And you guys enjoy those. And thank you for hanging out with me. Thank you, mods, for being good mods. And stalkers and haters are fans too. So here we go into the weekend. I don't know what's coming next. I do know that I have some other stuff I want to show that has nothing. Well, it has to do with the ancients, but doesn't have anything to do with Hillman. Because I do want to get back to the stuff I love to research and find for everybody. And thank you, Paula. Thank you so much, Paula. And thank you, Finn and Ashes and EDM and Angel and No Name and Win. Thank you all. Have a good day.
Dusty ass goof, you soft like clay. Talking big game, but you ain't here to stay. You were born degenerate, zero fucking benefit. Half and half benedict, wash out imminent. Claiming you're real, but it's all a front. Fake ass flexing in your little stunt. Trying to act tough, but we see through lies. Your weak ass vibe just don't hypnotize. Step to me now, I'm ready for war. Got my crew with me, yeah, we settle the score. There's anger inside, that's burning like fire. You wish you stayed quiet when you feel my ire. Dusty ass goof, you think you slick? I'm coming for you, yeah, I'm bringing that brick. You born degenerate, zero fucking benefit. Half and half benedict, wash out imminent. Act like a king, but you ain't got no throne. Live in the shadows, always alone. You talk about dreams, but they fade away. In this game of life, you just a cliche. inside is burning like fire. You wish you stayed quiet when you feel my ire. Dusty ass goof, you think you slick, but I'm coming for you.